I'm Emma, and I've been going to Beacon for 5 years. I feel like Jesus to me is just my rock, with everything. I fall short with so many aspects of life, and I get so stressed out, and I just when I break down, he's the one that's there, and he's like my firm foundation that I'm always able to rely on him, and I know that. It's like I feel like if I didn't have Jesus, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now, because I couldn't just rely on my own strength. I didn't have enough of it. I needed Jesus to kind of back me up a little bit, But yeah, I really didn't know who Jesus was. I mean, growing up Jewish, it was just, we were Reformed Jewish, so we weren't super practicing, but we were very big culturally. But I didn't know my first Christian until 9th grade when my best friend moved here from the South, and I immediately was just why is this chick so happy all the time? And I asked her, and she was like, Jesus. And I was like, this girl's off her rocker. What's wrong with her? And I was just such a miserable person, and I didn't show it because I really tried hard to put a brave face on with everything. But I hated myself. I didn't even know who I was, because I was trying so hard to emulate other people and just do what I thought was cool. So it wasn't until Jesus that I actually was able to kind of figure out who I was and my actual interests, because I was just trying to be like other people. And I was just doing the whole high school experience, college experience thing, the guys, the drinking and all that stuff that's so normalized. But I just hated everything about myself. So I was a really sad person. I was at my lowest point in high school. It was second semester, senior year of high school, and I was just really having a hard time with everything, academics, socially, mentally. My mental health was horrible. So something ended up happening that really brought my mental health to the lowest point, and I ended up trying to kill myself. And by the grace of God, I'm here. But I remember I did not want to go to school for a while, so my parents let me take a little bit of time off of school just to help myself a little bit. But then when I went back to school, I was just not wanting to be there. I really was just not wanting to see anyone or have to interact, and I was just so depressed, and I just needed something. So I remember I walked into school and I saw the last person that I wanted to see, and I ran into the bathroom and I was just sobbing my eyes out, and I was just crying, and there's a lot more to that. But I ended up looking at the door to the bathroom, and there were a bunch of club flyers on the door, and one was for the Christian club, and it had the Bible verse Romans 8:18, which is, the pain that you've been feeling cannot compare to the joy that's coming. And I was just okay. And I remember looking up at the ceiling and just being okay. And I went home and I taught myself Our Father, because I had no idea what I was doing. But that was the moment that I started believing, and that was the pivotal change for me. I didn't start living for the Lord, I'd say, until quarantine. So I was able to be removed from the really tempestuous environments of college and just have to be with myself and God. So yeah, I remember feeling better, feeling more complete, if that makes sense. I remember feeling I can't believe I ever lived without this. And I started feeling conviction towards the things that I wasn't previously convicted about. I remember I would be at parties and I would be doing shots with all my friends, and I'd be why don't I like this the same way I liked it before? And I almost didn't want it to happen in the beginning, because I was wait, but I want to go to parties with my friends. I want to have fun like this. But God was nope. And he was really pulling on my heart. And eventually, he completely changed my heart on it, and just my interests in general. That's not even something that would appeal to me at all anymore, which is all him, not me. Considering I didn't even want it to happen, I was no, Lord, I don't want to feel bad about these things that bring me enjoyment. I'm having fun right now. But and I made my whole personality that type of girl, if that makes sense. So it was just a very jarring thing for friends to see this like big change in me. And I remember they were all telling me like, you're just like different now, like something's different. And people from high school I hadn't seen in like a year or two were like, why are you like, I don't know, like something's up. And it's the light of God, you know? They were seeing the change of me having Christ in myself, you know? But yeah, I remember I was just like starting to feel better about myself. And then I started feeling like happy. And I hadn't felt happy in like, oh my gosh, since like childhood, I hadn't felt joy. And I can't even compare the amount of joy that I feel in living a life with God now that like I just never felt before. It's like, it's the type of joy that makes me want to like stand on the roof of a building and scream like, get to know Jesus, like Jesus is the best, he's so good, and you could be this happy too if you get to know Jesus as well. So yeah, I think just the level of happiness that changed is the biggest difference for me. So I got plugged in with Beacon, and that was really good. And I immediately started serving, which was really great because I didn't go to church with my family or anything, so I didn't know anyone. So the way I got to meet people was by serving and being parts of like different ministries, which was awesome. But I really was having a hard time not having any Christian friends because I had like 2 or 3, but you know, I felt like I had more non-Christian friends than Christian friends, and that was a little difficult at some points because the things I was interested in doing just was different than what they were interested in doing. I was like, I want to have friends that I could like do a Bible study on the beach with, but I don't have that. So I think really being involved with just like different young adult Christian ministries and stuff, and getting to know other people my age that are like chasing after Jesus was the biggest thing for me to, and just also hold me accountable when I'm like falling short, or you know, I'm just doing something that's like not great, or if they're like, hey, like how can I pray for you? Like that's like such a huge thing. That is, I don't know, that's everything. You need to be with people, and like it says that in the Bible, we need to be in community with each other. So that was the biggest difference for me. The friend that I made in 9th grade, who was the first Christian friend that I ever had, she actually went to Beacon when she moved to New York. So we would have sleepovers on a Saturday night, and then Sunday morning her dad would just be like, all right, we're all going to church and then I'll drop you off, Emma. So it was actually like really funny that that happened, because I remember the first time I ever went to Beacon, it was in like the old building, and the first sermon, he said like, I don't know, something, and I was just like, it's something about like the light of the Lord, and I just had so much like darkness in me that I was like, this is so fake, like I hate this, and I like plugged my ears and I was just like not gonna listen. So it was really funny that when I became a Christian, the first place I ran to was, okay, I'm gonna go to Beacon, you know, and I was still friends with my friend that went to Beacon, so I just started going to Beacon with her. So luckily, she kind of like had my foot in the door in that regard, even though I was fully still Jewish when I was going to Beacon with her as a 14-year-old. It was a very, I'd say, jarring thing for them. I would lie to them in the beginning, and I'd be like, I'm going to a frat party, and I'd be going to a Bible study. But they were like, have fun, and I wouldn't actually tell them what I was doing. Or I remember there was a Christian conference I went to for the weekend, and I told them I got an Airbnb with my friends to do something else because I was so scared. And I also wanted to make sure it stuck before I told them, because I didn't want to tell them for it to be a phase in my life. So I started just like lying, and they got like, I don't know, they really didn't know. And over time, I think a couple of years had gone by, and I got less and less careful with it. So I started wearing my cross in front of them. I started wearing Jesus shirts in front of them, and I shared a Spotify with my mom. So she saw I was listening to like Hillsong worship, you know, so she saw all these things. And I just cared less about hiding it. And then I told my brother, I have a twin brother, and I told him, and he really didn't care. He was like, whatever makes you happy. And I was like, okay, that's actually a good reaction. So I was in the car with my mom, and I was listening to K-Love, and I remember I would always switch the radio channel when she got in the car so she wouldn't hear that I was listening to K-Love, but I forgot that one time. And she was like, why are you listening to like this Jesus music? And I kind of told her like like I expected her to already know. I was like, oh, like, you don't know I'm Christian? And she was like, what? And she was very confused. And I kind of just explained everything from the past couple of years, like how I found the Lord, like when I started living for him, like the ways I had been lying about like hiding my faith from them. And they were not thrilled, obviously. It's a very huge change that you don't expect your child to change religions, you know? But my parents, they seemed more upset about the lying in the beginning, that like I didn't feel like I could tell them. But yeah, over time, they've gotten more and more comfortable with it, and they're supportive now. And they're like, listen, you're much happier, you're making safer, better decisions. So yeah, for the rest of my family, they've all reacted differently. Overall, I've been really lucky that they're all supportive of me, and yeah, they just appreciate that I'm where I am now. My goal is to just have Jesus so prevalent or like evident in my life that like people see me and they're like, there's something different about her. And I hope it's the light of Christ. And I know that they see it. I know that they really do see a big change in me. And just like not just my decisions, but who I am. And it's like crazy. So, because like you're made new, but I didn't realize how made new you were until I was made new. So like I look back at pictures and videos of myself and I feel like I'm looking at a different person. Like I'm like, that's not me. Like it's crazy. But they definitely see a difference, and they, for the most part, like the difference, you know? They're like, you're a better person. And I'm like, I think so. When I was trying to grow in my faith, I was really just seeking community because I didn't have it, and I was all of a sudden going into it as an 18-year-old, and I was like, oh my gosh, everyone knows each other, they've all grown up together in youth group, and I'm just coming in here as a stranger. So I just felt like I didn't have enough in my age group that I wanted. So I was looking into different young adult ministries, specifically one just for women, because I just wanted more Christian girls, you know? And I couldn't find anything that was exactly what I was looking for, because they're all like Bible study or devotional based, which is awesome. But I already had a Bible study, and I was looking for something more just nonchalant, like a whole bunch of girls that love Jesus hanging out with each other. But I couldn't find it, and I got like mad. I was like, Lord, why doesn't this exist? Like this would be such a helpful thing for so many people. And I felt like he was just like, you do it. If this doesn't exist, but it's on your heart, like you do this. Like, and I feel like God has given me certain things that have been very helpful to leading the type of ministry that I started. Like I'm a very extroverted person, so I think that's definitely helpful when it comes to I don't know, just like starting a social group. Because yeah, so I ended up starting a group called Church Girls, and it's for Christian women in their 20s who are just looking for a community and looking for a whole bunch of other girls that love Jesus to just like grow in their faith with. So I started Church Girls last March, so it's been like a year and a half now, and it has just been so cool seeing what God's done through it. And like people have come up to me from like after an event, and they're like, I just want to tell you, I've never seen this amount of Christian girls on Long Island. I didn't know this existed, and like this is gonna be monumental for my faith. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And people have come from like Montauk, like out east, people have come from Brooklyn, and it's just so cool the way that God is just starting this revival on Long Island and just really like bringing up the youth and just, I don't know, getting everyone excited about Jesus, that they want to come and spend a couple hours a month at an event like this to just like grow and fellowship with each other. So it's been a really, really cool thing, like seeing how the Lord has moved it. See, because it's not just one denomination, Church Girls, it's just, if you love Jesus, come. It's really, really cool to see just Pentecostal and Lutheran and Catholic and non-denom. It's just really cool to see all these people who love Jesus differently, but the common denominator is that we love him and want to grow in our faith. And I'm learning so many new things because I am still catching up because I didn't grow up in the church. So I'm learning so many new things from these girls who have either been raised in the faith and totally been grown up, or like pastors' kids or just different denominations. They're like, oh, have you heard of this? And I'm like, I haven't. And then they explained it to me, and it's really, really cool. So I think that's a way that my faith has grown exponentially, just by learning constantly, by being surrounded and like forced proximity with like strong believers. That's been really great. And then in terms of my own faith with church girls, I have struggled a little bit in certain parts of it. So I'm a very like type A person that I didn't realize I would be type A, but I'm only type A with church girls. So I've struggled with like just letting go and letting God and giving it up to the Lord, and just putting my utmost trust in Him and faith that whatever happens, no matter how many girls come, no matter how many craft materials end up being shipped in time, it's gonna be okay. And if it resonates for one girl, the entire event was worth it. So I'm really, really trying to focus on that and just get stronger in that. Overall though, it's been so great for my faith because I'm surrounded by women that are wanting to grow in the Lord. I started light. I started just volunteering for events. So I would do face painting at like Christmas Fest or Trunk or Treat and stuff like that. And that was really cool because the girls that would volunteer for face painting were usually around my age. So I was able to like make friends with them. And then the first ministry I think I started serving on was Fusion. So that's our high school young adult ministry. So I started serving, I was leading the middle school group with my best friend. That was really, really cool. And then I started doing worship. So I joined the worship team. That was really awesome. And then it's just, then I just led Alpha, which was so cool that like Trevor trusted me to do that. And I don't know, and Alpha was such a big thing for my faith that I was really excited to, I don't know, help other people like be part of it. So just like jumping in wherever I'm needed has just been a really helpful thing. So it's like to the point now that people, if there's a need and they think it's something that's like good, be like, oh wait, Emma could do that. And that's really, really cool because I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, I'm actually like part of a church and I feel like it's like a little family that I'm part of, and I love that. It's really, really nice to feel that way. It's like hard being a Christian sometimes, especially in the world that we live in, especially on Long Island where it's not the prominent thing that kind of everyone's practicing. It's really hard, especially growing up not like being raised with Christian values. So that's been another thing I've kind of had to like reframe my moral and value set with just like me and the Lord and just my other like Christian family that I value their opinion on. But I don't know. I mean, I have always struggled with my mental health like throughout my entire life. Just because I became a Christian doesn't mean I stopped. It meant now I didn't just rely on drugs and alcohol and validation from guys. I now turned to the Lord in it, which was much better than just drinking it away. But I still struggled with all of it. I just cope differently now. So now I run to a mentor or run to the Bible, you know, and I like seek help through that. So yeah, I still struggle all the time. The way I respond is much different, and I know at the end of it, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that's Jesus. Get plugged into a church, 100%. You can't be a Christian alone. It's really, really hard, and we're not supposed to. We're supposed to be in community with fellow believers, and where two or more are gathered, you know, you can't do it alone. So get involved with the church, or you could start light and join a Bible study, join a different ministry that's around you. But you need to have people who are going to hold you accountable on your walk, and you're going to have to be okay with that. I remember it was really hard for me in the beginning with like how I dressed. Over time, as I've gotten stronger in my faith, how I've dressed has changed. You know, I started feeling convicted about certain things that I felt were like too low or too short, and that's evolved. And I remember in the beginning, I had friends who were like, how do you feel about this? And I was like, I think it's fine. And I would get very defensive, you know? So I think it's very important that you soften your heart with it and allow people to help you, because that's really what they want to do. They're not being judgmental, and they're not trying to be holier than thou. And if they are, find a new group of Christian friends, because that's not supposed to be how it is. So get involved and start being surrounded by other Christians. I mean, I'm just so thankful that and like shocked that he picked me. I'm always like, why did you pick me? And I'm not someone who normally would have just like found God like through situations or like social situations I was in. He really was like, he sought after me, and that's the craziest thing. Like, why me? I'm not an awesome, amazing, exponential person. I'm not overly intelligent. I'm not like the nicest person you'll ever meet. And it's just so crazy that he can use someone like me to be a tool for his kingdom. Like, that is just the craziest thing. And I'm just so utterly like appreciative and unworthy of that. And I just hope that I make him proud doing whatever he feels that I should. And just I hope I am always able to listen to when he is speaking to me and just answer whatever his plans for me are. So yeah.